What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're trying to push 3400 IO in Midnight Mythic Plus, secure that Keystone Myth achievement and mount, this is the guide for you. I've pushed higher keys as Brewmaster in the past, being a top 10 Brewmaster in North America before, and I've been doing some high keys on it recently as well. So today I'm going to be breaking down exactly what you need to do to climb as Brewmaster. First, let's just talk about what makes Brewmaster good. Why should you even play it? So unless you're living under a rock, everyone at this point knows that Brew is the best tank in the game. But why is that? Its raid buff is mediocre at best. It's honestly very niche. Unless you're running a melee comp, probably the worst one in the game. And besides that, it's very simple. It's just that Brew is the tankiest tank. It has the most survivability and can basically outlive every other tank while also putting out high damage. It has high mobility, has strong AoE damage, has some decent prio with blackout combo and tiger palm. And its utility, yeah, its utility is decent, but I think the biggest thing besides it being so tanky is that it's pretty it's pretty forgiving rather. While some tanks like Prop Paladin might be unforgiving if you don't have a cooldown for a specific you know smash or a specific pull, like you're probably dead immediately, you'll flop over. Brew is pretty unforgiving. Man, I keep saying that. Pretty forgiving. Sorry, not editing that out. For oh, maybe you didn't hit Invoke Nizao immediately or Fort Brew or whatever. Like, you should still be fine if you hit it like a second later or something. Um, but yeah, at a high level, Brewmaster is all about Stagger. It's essentially your whole identity, and it's why Brew is so strong right now. To put it simply, you use Purifying Brew to clear your Stagger. However, you don't want to Purify Stagger if, just because it's up. Like, oh, I can hit it? No. Like if the Stagger's low, you can just kind of let it sit. But you also don't want to be sitting on your Purifying Brew if your Stagger is at, like, red, and you're just getting chunked by Stagger. If you do that, you'll probably die. But if you spend it too often, you'll probably run out of resources, and then you'll get to red Stagger, and then you'll probably die again. So use Celestial Infusion basically on cooldown. It's a 45-second cooldown, but because of the CDR or cooldown reduction from your brews, it's probably closer to a 15 to 25-second cooldown, depending on how you're using your brews. And I think that I see a lot of people fail in that they treat it like a cooldown, when realistically you should be using it multiple times a pull, especially on big pulls. You can use it 3, 4, 5 times, depending on, how big the pull is, how long the pull lasts, etc. But not now to actually talk about some actual defensives, because I don't consider that a defensive. This is where most players, again, fail at trying to hit 3400 IO. And I think it's that they either over purify, like I said earlier, and run out of resources. Then they throw out like Fort Brew and they're like, oh yeah, this is my big cooldown. And then Fort Brew doesn't do enough because they have red Stagger and they don't have anything to clear it. Or they just kind of hold their cooldowns for too long and then flop over and die. And I wish I could say, like, hey, this is exactly how you're supposed to use, your defensives. But there's no, like, one, like, way of, hey, you use this on this pull and this on this pull, because every comp is different. Every pack dies at a different speed. Like, you can't look at someone in, like, a YouTube video or Twitch stream doing plus 19, 20, 21s, and they're like, oh yeah, they did this pull and used this cooldown, because that group is also doing more damage. They have a different comp. Maybe they have a fizz comp. If they have the fizz comp, then everything's probably dying pretty fast, and that's why they're pulling 5 or 6 mobs at a time. Versus if they don't have a fizz comp, let's say they have Devour Demon Hunter, Unholy DK, Demo Lock, they're going to be pulling probably bigger, and there's going to be a lot more AoE damage. So it differs. It's very situational. Um, I can say for sure that you don't want to just be sitting on Invoke Nizao. You want to use it as often as possible. But now again, it's situational. If you're on a boss fight and the boss is at 5 to 10% HP, and you know that you have a giant pull afterwards, I'd say hold it for those 20, 30, 40 seconds, and then use it on the next pull. But again, very situational. I know I'm going to use that word a lot, but that's just kind of how tanking is in a lot of, keys in Midnight, or just in general, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, you have Invoke Nizal, you have Fort Brew, and you have Black Ox Brew. So again, Invoke Nizal you want to use on cooldown. Fort Brew, pretty situational. Again, sometimes you can also use it as a defensive for the DR, but then also to get another stack of brew. But again, if you go into a big pull and you don't have Celestial Brew, you don't have any purifies up, and you hit Fort Brew thinking like, oh, this is a giant cooldown, like thinking like it's like a wall or something like that's gonna like prevent you from dying from a million mobs hitting you, like it's probably not gonna work. Um, Also, I know these aren't technically defensives, but don't be afraid to use Ring of Peace or Leg Sweep defensively to give yourself, a breather if you're out of resources. Because Leg Sweep and Ring of Peace, probably a similar time that they're going to save you from getting meleeed and like beat up on. That'll give your healer, some time to heal you while you're getting like destroyed by Stagger. It'll give you time for at least one of your purifying brews to come up so you can clear a little bit of Stagger, and that has saved me multiple times on my brew where I'm like, oh shit, I'm getting literally destroyed by some of these mobs, and then I leg sweep, and by the time the leg sweep's over, I go from red stagger and 30% health to like I've cleared my stagger and I'm at full health essentially. So um now we're going to be talking a little bit about utility. I know I just touched on two big utility uh abilities, but it's honestly pretty mid. It's not going to be long, which is the main reason they've never really been meta in my opinion. Um, but you do have Ring of Peace. You have Paralysis, which I personally usually opt to make Paralysis a soothe. Out of combat, you can use Paralysis for some pretty niche things, like Paralysis on the cadavers in Pitaceron, so that you don't have to worry about them at all, so that nobody has to kick them. They're just kind of there. You just Paralysis them off on the side and then pull the pack away. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I usually use it for the soothe. Um, but again, you have to talent into that. Then there's leg sweep for CC. We've talked about that. And then there's detox for any poison or disease dispel. It's pretty useful, especially in dungeons like Algathar, first boss, like the first boss of my Mysara Caverns. You can immediately start dispelling, your teammates. It's pretty decent. But again, yeah, their utility is nothing fancy. It's very convenient in certain dungeons again and situations, but it's not anything game breaking. It's not the reason that they're meta. Um, Next up is talents. I'm going to link my talents in the description below that I use in most keys in this. Again, I opt for a more util-ish, I guess, talent build, which is really just I take detox in every single dungeon. I know I could change that for probably a couple of dungeons, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. And I take the soothe and paralysis in most of the dungeons as well. Again, I think my opinion, monk talent, brewmaster talent specifically, um, they don't change much in keys this season. You can really change like one or two of them if you really want to, but everyone's basically running the same thing. Again, I'll link my talents in the description below. But if you really want to, you could remove soothe or detox for other monk talents. But I've done 18s, 19s pretty easily with talent build I'm running, and I still have like some champion track gear on my monk, so he's definitely not anything near this or having like pretty insane gear or anything like that. Um, but now that we've talked about defenses and talents, I kind of want to touch on basic damage rotation. This is going to be brief because I assume that everybody watching this video is somebody that's already playing Brewmaster and just wants, maybe some tips to get to, whatever it is, 3200, 3400, 3600, 3700. So I'm just going to, again, it's going to be brief. You basically want to never have, again, like I mentioned, Invoke Mizal on cooldown. Just sitting there, you blackout kick on cooldown, and you always have to blackout kick into something. I mean, you don't have to, but you get blackout combo. It helps a lot. Ignore my Demon Hunter dying here. He accidentally ate 2 stacks of these soaks on the first boss of 19 Magisters. But again, yeah, Keg Smash on cooldown. You don't ever want to be sitting on 2 stacks of Keg Smash. At least, use one if you have 2 up. And then Breath of Fire. Make sure Breath of Fire is permanently up for damage, and then also for healing, and then for DR. And then Exploding Keg on cooldown after, Keg Smash and Breath of Firing. And then also throwing some Blackout Kick into Tiger Palm, combinations for priority. Like, especially if there's a mob that you're like, oh, this mob needs to die first. I'm not saying you're gonna have the best priority in the world on it, but it's pretty good. Now, obviously, if Keg Smashing Keg Smash is on or is up and it has 2 stacks, then yeah, don't do that. Don't waste your cooldowns, and don't waste missing out on a lot of AOE damage for a little bit of prio. Just my opinion. This also varies again. Not game changer, but Chi Burst situational. You can use it whenever you want. I suggest if you have completely red stagger and you're getting destroyed, like for example in this pull right here by a bunch of mobs where they accidentally pulled second pack, um, probably not the best idea to chi burst if I'm at red stagger and I'm getting meleeed by all these tank busters and whatnot, especially if I have other ability suppress. If you have no ability suppress, sure, go for it, send it, why not? But it's not like a game changer. It's not like, oh shit, this is like a super good ability. Like I could probably not hit G-Verse for an entire key and it would barely make a difference in my opinion. But again, that's just me. Um, but yeah, I think Brewmaster is pretty simple, especially since they pruned a lot of it. Um, there's definitely more tips and tricks to it for especially damage rotation. But that'll be another video if there are enough requests because going into that would take probably way too long. Um, but yeah, again, if this helped you out, drop a like and subscribe. I'm putting more high-end Mythic Plus content out, especially for tanks and boomies, Blood DK, Brewmaster, um, Boomy, Unholy DK. I'll probably come out with some stuff on Prop Alley once I get him some gear. I should be getting him to max level today or tomorrow. But if you're looking for some tips on pugging specifically, I also have a video on that I can link in the description below that you can check out. If you got any questions on Brewmaster or just pushing IO in general, drop them in the comments. I read everything. You could also join my Discord and message me there directly, which I've had people do. Good luck on your push to 3400, and I'll see you in the next one.